Um, we're in Venice Beach. Do you mind telling me your name?
Kathy.
Kathy.
Mhm.
And you and I were talking earlier, but you and your boyfriend live in an RV in
Yes.
Venice?
Uh-huh.
Yes. And do you mind telling me how old you are?
61.
61 years old. And how long have you been living like this?
For about a year and a half.
About a year and a half. And how were you living before moving into the RV?
In an apartment.
In an apartment.
Yeah.
Um, can I ask what led to you moving into the RV?
Basically, the money started running out. I wasn't working, and the money that Amir, my partner, gets for disability wasn't enough to pay the rent. So I said, let's get an RV so that we're not like literally on the streets when the money runs out. So that's what we did.
And what kind of RV do you have? Do you have electricity and water in
No,
that?
no, it's old, so nothing is really working in there. So basically, it's a place to sleep and store stuff.
So you mentioned that your boyfriend has a disability.
Yeah,
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
he has epilepsy.
Epilepsy.
Yeah, so he gets a disability check every month.
And do you have any disabilities yourself?
I kind of do, but I'm not on disability, so I don't get any money.
Yeah. And the disability that you and your boyfriend have, does it impede you from being able to work?
Somewhat,
Yeah.
somewhat. Yeah, I mean, he has actually never worked a regular job. I mean, he works out here a lot. He thinks that if he tries to get a regular job, that they won't hire him because of that. I don't know if that's true or not. It might be because they don't want the liability if something should happen. With me, it's more of a mental health, uh, quote unquote, disability. And yeah, it has affected me in my work. Can I not work at all? That's not true. I can, I can do some until and if, I start having issues with that. So
Yeah.
yes and no for me.
That must be difficult for it to be kind of so unsteady.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Um, and what was your work before you became unhoused?
I've done all kinds of things, but the last thing I was doing, like semi full time, was like doing merchandising in a grocery store where we're just pulling products off and putting them back on. So just kind of, more of a physical thing. And that was back in the time where I could do more of that kind of work. Now I'm having problems with my feet, and it's be a little bit more difficult for me to do a job like that where I'm like on my feet and stooping and bending and all that. So yeah, but I've done all kinds of things. I've done tutoring. I was a teacher for a while. I did substitute teaching way back when. Decided that teaching was not really my thing because it's hard for me to manage the children, their behavior. Other than that, I love teaching. But anyway, so I've done different things.
Saying that you love teach. Wow, sorry. So you
Mhm.
say that you love teaching. Was there something that could have been done to make that a more manageable position for you?
I mean, I think it's just like any other job. I think some people are built for it and some aren't. I'm not a real disciplinarian type of person, and I think you really have to be that way. Um, when I was subbing, there was this teacher that was, like in the next classroom, and I was sometimes when you sub, you have the class for more than just one day. Like maybe the teacher needs you to be there for a couple weeks. Anyway, I was talking to her, and she is like, she goes overboard. Her kids are like afraid of her. So it's like, and but that's the position that teachers are in. They know that if they're too nice to the students, that they're going to be run over. And so if they're too mean, now you've got kids that are afraid of you and they're afraid to ask you questions. And, so it's a really, I know that some can meet that in between way where, that halfway, but I didn't want to do that,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Um, so you sound like you're extremely educated. What led to you becoming unhoused?
Well, like I said, I had some money from an inheritance actually, and we were living off of that and the little money that we make here and his check. And so when that started to run out, I said, we got to do something. Not knowing that it would be very difficult, very, very difficult to have a motorhome on the streets here, with the harassment. if I had known all that, I might have done some rethinking, although I don't know what I would have done, but so yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, there is an RV park down just south of here called Dockweiler, and we were actually staying there when I still had some money, but it's like $55 a night. So that would have been more than our apartment was at $2,000 a month. So it's like, and that's real nice because you're over there and it's kind of quiet and all that, but we can't afford to do that. So meanwhile, living on the street, I've got like 20 parking tickets, and there's fewer and fewer places for people in RVs to go to park. So, and I get it. They don't want people doing that, but it's like, it's not like I want to do that. It felt like a necessity at the time. So we're trying to get housing. We're working with a couple of organizations, and nothing really seems to be happening. Maybe it takes time. I don't know. It's frustrating though, you know.
What do you wish the city could change to help that?
I don't really know. I mean, I guess more housing, more. I don't even know, exactly how much housing there is. I know some people get help. Sometimes it takes a year longer. Um, I know there's different programs, but I don't know enough about it really. Hi, you're matching. Yeah, these are crystal staffs. You can call them scepters or whatever you want to call them. Yeah. We're on Fantasy Staffs on Instagram if you want to follow us. Fantasy Staffs with the S. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And you can also pick one up if you care to. Oh, no. No, 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 no. With the S. Yeah. Staffs. Uh huh. You'll see like a sunset in the picture. Thank you. Have you too.
Do you get a lot of sales through more sales through Instagram or just from sitting out here?
Um, Probably more sitting out here. I mean, every now and then somebody will. Yeah, yeah.
And what are you selling out here?
Crystal staffs. Yeah, handcrafted staffs made of crystals and copper.
Where do you get your materials?
There's a warehouse out in the San Fernando Valley called Rock Paradise, and we go out there when we can afford to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're the artist?
Oh no, Amir is the artist.
Oh, really?
No, I don't do that. No, I just sit here. I don't do that.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't do that. He sculpts with clay as well, so this is kind of like sculpture in a way to me,
Yeah.
putting everything together. I couldn't do that. Well, first of all, I would glue my hands together with the glue. I mean, seriously. So that's a skill on its own.
I'm very impressed. Do you remember the first day that you started living in the RV?
Yeah, I think that night, wherever we were trying to park, we got a note. I'm pretty sure we spent the night at that spot that I'm talking about. And then the next day we got a note on there saying, please move. We need this room for construction or something like that. So we moved. I don't remember where, but and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not even sure that we actually spent the night there. It might have happened before. It's a little fuzzy in my mind. Sometimes my memory is not the greatest, but usually it's pretty good. But
I get it.
yeah, so immediately it was like, okay, this is going to be a challenge. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it hard coming to accept that this was the way that you were living now?
Yeah, it's still hard to accept it. But I guess you got to keep going. It's like
Oh, yeah.
the chicken.
Pause for sound. So I guess I'll kind of ask you again, just because there was a lot of sound there, but how did you feel that first day that you found yourself in that RV?
Like, I mean, well, a little bit of it was relief. not having to pay rent, right? Yeah. But the other part was like, wow, this is what it's come to, you know. This is our life right now. And it's been a year and a half has felt like 5 or 10 years because of everything that we've been through,
Yeah.
you know. On the other hand, we're not living on the street. So Amir did that for a year and a half out here in Venice. When I met him, he was on the street, and I took him into my apartment. So I adopted him.
Can you tell me a little bit about that, about you guys meeting and how you came to start dating?
I was down here. I was a street performer at the time. I was doing the Drunk Mermaid show where I had this kiddie pool and I was dressed like a mermaid and I was pretending like I was drunk and I was singing and all that kind of stuff. So I had been doing that for about a year off and on. And so when I met him, I was actually in the line for the bathrooms down here. And he was behind me and started chatting me up, and that's how it started.
That's very sweet.
So yeah, it is very sweet.
Um, what does your daily routine look like?
We try to get up fairly early so that we can just get out of there, get out of the motorhome. Um, Most of the time we come here to the beach, and then sometimes after the beach we'll go to the gym so we can get a shower. And he works out. I mean, yeah, I guess you can tell he's a bodybuilder. So he'll work out. If we don't come here, maybe we'll get up and maybe like I'll have an appointment or something that I need to go to or whatever, or he does. We usually try to take at least one day off from the beach, if not a couple. And then we usually don't get back to the motorhome until maybe 7 or 8, probably sometimes later, because it's not real relaxing there. I mean, it's not horrible, but there's stuff going on, and there's people right down the street that are homeless, and not all of them are real nice, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And we've had some trouble with them, not a lot, but sometimes there's noise. The other night, actually, there was one of those Waymo cars. You know what those are, the driverless cars. And we heard two men shouting at each other pretty loud. And the Waymo car, I don't think they had anything to do with the Waymo car, but for some reason the Waymo car was pulled over. And the Waymo car started talking. It said something like, unsafe behavior detected, authorities may be contacted. Yeah, like a Siri voice. And that was so I guess there's a little security built into that.
That I did
And
not know.
again, I don't know why the car was there, if it had just dropped somebody off or if it was maybe pausing for another ride. I don't know what was going on. But then, like I said, we heard those voices very loud. So
I didn't know that
I
they
did
did
not either.
security.
I did not
That's
either.
interesting.
Yeah. So I guess they can call the police.
Okay. I don't know how to feel about that. A robot car.
I know
calling the police,
it's
but
a little disturbing, I think.
yeah.
I mean, I guess it's good that they're another eye on the, out there, but
yeah.
what else are they going to do?
I know. What are the implications for the future?
Right.
How have your interactions with the police been since you've started living this lifestyle?
Well, we're always compliant. I don't always feel like being compliant, but and I've told a few of them, this is BS, and I don't want to move, and but we're compliant, so it hasn't been too bad, But anyway, we don't like it. We don't like them for the most part.
You're not alone. Okay, wait. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've done with your RV? Have you had time to decorate or made it a home?
No, right now it looks really bad. I mean, there's just stuff kind of all over the place. I mean, it's hoarded up. I mean, but it's clean. I mean, there's not like gross garbage and all that all over the place. It's just, there's a lot of stuff in there that we need to go through probably. For a while when we were at Dockweiler, we were there for like 20 days, and I was able to kind of, go through stuff and kind of fix it up. But at this point, I've just given up. I mean, we have to give our energy to this, and you know what I mean? So And usually when we're there, like when we go there at night, it's dark, and so it's hard to get the flashlight and really get anything accomplished. Um, I can turn the battery on under the hood and get a little bit of electricity for a short time. I'm afraid to do that though. I don't want to run the battery down for when we have to move it.
Yeah.
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 So
That must be hard though, because it's something you take it for granted that you have a space that you feel comfortable in.
right. Yeah.
What do you miss most about having an apartment?
Um, electricity, water, just safety. You know, you don't feel 100% safe. And now we're sleeping with a window that's been, I told you about that. The window was gashed out by a rock coming through. So it's still open. I need to get that boarded up as soon as I get enough money to do so, you know, because it's just, we're laying next to an open window. And
Yeah.
it's been cold the last several days, you know, nights.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the rock incident?
Um, we came back from the beach one night and it was close to 10, I think. And we were parked on Washington Boulevard and we were kind of out by ourselves, you know, like there wasn't any motorhomes right near us. So we were kind of a sitting target, I guess you could say. And we came back, we parked the van in front of the motorhome. Now we usually park it behind if we can, but we parked it in front of the motorhome, got out, got in. We probably weren't there for more than a half an hour. And I was in the back on the bed, which is right near the window that the rock came through. Amir was in the front seat, just kind of chilling. And all of a sudden, this rock came through. At first, I thought we were hit by a car because I figured that could happen. Somebody could swerve accidentally or whatever. That's what it felt like because the impact was extremely hard. And I got thrown off the bed because I was already like on the edge of the bed, you know, the outer edge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the impact of it coming through threw me off the bed. So I was on the floor, and it, like I said, it was really loud and scary. And we didn't realize until, I don't know, a few seconds later, or maybe whatever it was, that there was this big boulder that landed on the bed right next to where I was laying. So I'm sure that somebody was surveillancing us because why would they wait until we got back, you know? And if they just wanted to vandalize it, they would have done it probably earlier when we weren't there, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's just so cool.
that was horrible. Yeah. I mean, I could have been killed, you know? I mean, that there's no, I mean, and if Amir was on the bed, he could have been killed because that's really where it landed, where he lays. So, yeah. And it was interesting that at that time we were laying with our heads on a certain, you know, end of the bed as opposed to the other because we kind of switch around depending on if we're tilted where we're parked. So at that time we did have our heads in the spot where the boulder landed. So yeah,
That's
yeah,
terrifying.
it's I don't know.
Has being unhoused led to more a higher lack of faith in humanity or more of a faith in humanity?
Oh wow, I didn't have much faith to begin with in humanity as a whole. I mean, not really, but yeah, I would say less because you know, I mean, especially living in Los Angeles. I mean, you know how expensive it is to live here, and I'm sure that there's way more people living in their vehicles, mostly vehicles, not RVs, than we realize. And some of these people, I'm sure, are working, maybe even two jobs. But even with that income, they can't afford a apartment around here. You know, maybe not even in LA, downtown LA or somewhere. I don't know. So,
1 second. So, what is the most challenging aspect of your life?
oh man, I guess money, like everybody else. You know, everybody is in angst over not having enough money. Well, not everybody, but a majority, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's yeah, that's and like I said, the harassment from the city, from the cops, from the parking enforcement, from the community, all of it. You know, it's all over. So
So
yeah,
frustrating. So, without electricity, how do you prepare your meals?
we don't. We don't. We have EBT right now, so we can go to the market and we just have to get, like, if we're getting hot foods, we just have to kind of pretty much eat them right then. Um, you know, we just do what we can. Yeah, there's no cooking. I won't even go into the whole toileting thing. You don't want to know, but we don't have. There's nothing that's workable in the RV. So
How do you shower
the gym.
at the gym?
Luckily, we were able to get a gym membership, so that's where I take my showers. Yeah. For about 6 or 7 months, we didn't take a shower. So it's like, get your cold water and your paper towels and maybe a little soap and just try to do something.
Yeah.
So that you don't, smell out the whole place.
Is there something that you think could be donated to unhoused people to help with that? Is there any product that you think?
Well, I mean, a lot of places do give out like baby wipes, and I mean that's better than nothing. I mean, I don't really know what more they could, do.
Yeah.
The people out here, I saw a lady taking a shower over there at the bathrooms maybe like a week ago, and it wasn't like it was warm outside. So yeah, and that's cold water, obviously.
Yeah.
So I guess they just do what they can. I mean, I don't know, and some of them don't. You can tell. Yeah.
Speaking of donations, do people bring you food when you're out here?
Yeah, there are some people who do that. Yeah. There's a Buddhist guy who comes around, I think it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for lunch, and he brings some food. And there's a organization that comes around on, I think, Sunday nights, although I don't think they were here last night, or maybe we weren't here late enough. They come around in the evening with some food. Yeah.
If you could eat anything right now, what would it be?
You asked me this last time. Steak dinner.
Yeah.
New York steak with baked potato and veggies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yum.
I used to go to what was that steak place? I don't even know if they have it anymore. Black Angus. I don't know if they even have that restaurant anymore.
I think they do.
Yeah, I used to go there.
Yeah.
Once in a while in the old days.
In the old days, a steak with baked potato, delicious.
Yeah.
So, what's the most serious illness or injury you've faced
In my life, or since
becoming unhoused?
most serious what now?
Illness or injury. I know that we've talked about your
Crazily, I haven't really gotten sick. I mean, I've had issues with my feet, and there's been a couple things ruled out, and I think it might be arthritis. I'm not sure. I'll probably maybe do some more doctor visits, but they pretty much ruled out neuropathy, and they ruled out a circulation problem. I guess some people literally like lose circulation in their ankles and their feet, but they said I'm fine with that. So other than that, knock on wood, and Amir really hasn't been sick either.
Yeah.
You would think it would just literally break you down, break your immune system down just from all that stress and everything, but I don't know, somehow it hasn't. I know, right?
Hopefully that continues that way.
Mhm.
So you earn money selling gemstones at the beach, and it sounds like Amir has a couple of other routes that he tries to make money. What do you spend it on first?
What do we spend it on? Well, we have a storage facility, so that's $271. He and I have both been talking about maybe going over there and trying to get a smaller one, like get rid of some stuff.
Yeah.
The only question is, like, where do you take that stuff? It's not like they have a dumpster there, and there's a reason for that. Why would a storage place have a dumpster? Because it would be overflowing all the time, and that costs them extra money to get rid of it. So we do that. We have the LA Fitness thing that's like almost $70. We have our phone bills, cell phone bills. So yeah, we have bills, right? And then of course we spend it on food when the EBT runs out, because the EBT is very helpful though. It's like $400 a month for both of us, so that's a lot. That's something, So yeah, I mean, other than that, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
No going to Las Vegas like we used to once in a while. Only once in a while.
You used to go to Vegas? Oh, that's funny.
Once in a while.
There are much better places you could be dreaming of going.
I know, right?
So what was the most difficult experience you've had while homeless?
Wow. I would say when that rock came through, that really like for a while I was, I still have PTSD about it just a little, and for a while I really did, so that probably, yeah,
How did that make you feel?
horrible. I was literally like picturing myself laying there with a cracked skull. And I was picturing a mirror like having to go back there and see me like that. And having to call my daughter and tell her your mom just got killed by a I mean, seriously, this stuff was going through my head. So I was just like, it was like a serious punch to the gut, because if to me it was attempted murder. And I made a police report. I had to make a police report because the insurance said that I had to give me the money to replace the window. The reason I didn't replace the window is because I needed that money for other stuff. And I said, I'm just going to board up the window. Why put any more money into this vehicle that's 34 years old or whatever it is, you know? So anyway, yeah, so I had to make the report. And we also went down to the police station and we told this officer about it. And he said, well, unless you know who did it or whatever, he says it's just a vandalism report. And I guess that's true. How can you say it's attempted murder if you can't prove who it was or their intent? And I don't think it was a personal thing. I think it was because we were in an RV, which I guess is personal. But what I mean by personal is I don't think it was somebody who hated Amir and I
Yeah,
necessarily.
they just hated the idea of anybody living in an
Right,
RV,
right.
which is so spiteful.
Near them, yeah. I'm sure it was probably somebody nearby, most likely. I don't know.
It's
But I
just,
mean, the rock was the size of a human head. It was absolutely huge. And that's another reason why I feel like it was attempted murder as opposed to just a vandalism thing. They could have used a smaller rock, you know. So, yeah.
it's hard to understand why people react in that way
Yeah.
or have such a lack of understanding.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but on the other side, can you share any acts of kindness from others that you'll never forget?
Oh, yeah. No, we've had when we were first out there for like a few months, I don't know how many months. Um,
Can you share any acts of kindness from others you'll never forget?
oh, yeah, absolutely. When we first got out there, um, Amir was outside of I was inside the motorhome, but he was talking to somebody. I don't know if he was doing like a little documentary for college or anyway, he was out there with the camera doing something and he struck up a conversation with Amir and he says, I want to go get you something. And they came back about an hour later with like $200 worth of stuff for us, like groceries and, stuff that we could use, not perishables. And so that was amazing. And then the people that come out here with the food, I mean, it's just amazing. I've had some people out here I know give me money, not a lot of times, but I'm just because they know that we're trying and we're, kind of suffering. But yeah, there's a lot of good people, thank goodness. I mean, there's a lot of horrible people out here and there's a lot of great people out here.
Yeah.
I have to try to remember that because I think sometimes the ones that are not good leave more of an impression somehow, but we shouldn't let that happen, right? We should tilt it over.
It's a beautiful perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to keep, but
Right.
um, what were your dreams and goals when you were younger?
Oh, I don't know. I can remember when I was really young wanting to be a flight attendant. At that time, we called it stewardess. But that was when I was really young. I didn't, I think I got that because when I was 8, we went to Hawaii as a family. And so I'm on that plane. And I'm like, this is so cool. But dreams, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if I had any real dreams.
Do you have any
As a
now?
very young kid. Sometimes, and then sometimes I'll stop myself and say, no, you gotta, just be realistic. Not that I don't think we're ever going to get out of this because I hope we do, of course, but I have to wait and see. I'm not getting any younger, so Amir is 50. He's 10 and a half years younger than I am.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to tell him that, if I'm kind of slower than you are at some point, at some times, 10 years is a long time, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But you seem pretty with it. I will say, like
With it.
you're out here every day selling,
Mhm.
chatting with people. I think that takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy just to live when you're unhoused.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. If you could go back in time, what moment would you go back to?
Oh my gosh. Maybe when my daughter was real little. Yeah. Just for a little bit. I wouldn't want to relive that whole time, but
Yeah.
yeah, just for a while.
Do you still see your daughter?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's 22 now though. She's grown.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And is she in LA?
Yeah, yeah. For now, she might be moving to Colorado.
Oh.
Yeah, which is gonna break my heart, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I moved away from my parents when I was younger, and
Did you?
they followed me here.
Oh, wow. How much later did they follow you that you moved?
Been now in LA for 12 years, so it took 12 years to get them out here, but they finally decided
Wow.
they didn't want to be far away anymore.
Wow.
Um, so
Yeah,
even if
I
she
don't want
moves,
to.
you guys might end up near each
Yeah,
other.
no, I don't want to be away from her if I can help it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
Ay, ay, ay. To be housed, for my daughter not to leave, um, for Amir and I to be happy and healthy.
Beautiful. Those are beautiful wishes. And finally, if you could give a piece of advice to the viewers watching this interview, what would it be?
If you have money, use it wisely because it doesn't last forever. And please don't do what I did and not work when you probably should have been, like a regular job. I kept thinking maybe these things will go off crazy, and they still could, but be smart. Be smart with money. Yeah, try to be smart with money.
Well, thank you.
And try not to lose hope in life because it's easy to start going down that path. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you so much.